Good evening, and we'll call the Public Safety Committee meeting for November to order. Good to see each and every one of you here this evening. And we'll begin with the approval of our minutes from our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Rather.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. I've reviewed the minutes of October 24th, find them all to be in order, and make the motion to approve as submitted.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes have been approved. Beginning with the Sheriff's Office report. I believe your report includes 2 budget amendments, correct?
Yes. Good evening. This afternoon, our population in the jail was 698 inmates. Give you some updates. Our washer and dryers were installed a couple weeks ago. We're waiting on some electrical breakers to be installed. Hopefully this week they'll be up and running. Update on the staff elevator. They're waiting on parts and materials, so they're looking at the first of the year before they can even start that project now due to materials. That's the end of my report, sir.
Mayor?
Deputy Chief, I want to get a clarification. I didn't think I heard everything you said, but you're in reference to the dryer?
Dryers, washers, yes.
And this is the dryer that burned up, correct, that we're replacing?
Yes, sir.
And so you're telling me that it'll be the first of the year before that new dryer becomes operational?
No, sir, that's the staff elevator.
My apologies. That's why I asked for a correction.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we had to get new breakers for the washer and dryers, and they should be installed this week, so they should be up and running this week.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. My apologies.
No, you're okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Other questions? This is your report?
Yes, sir.
If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve the report. Commissioner Beverly.
Second.
Second. Commissioner McMurray. Further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The report is approved.
The first amendment is from the jail. The amendment is to provide funds for overtime needed for employees covering vacant positions. We're asking to take $360,000 from our guard's salary and place it in our overtime line item. The next amendment is to provide funds for repair and maintenance of the building and to provide funds for kitchen equipment, to buy new equipment. We're asking to take $70,000 out of our other supplies and equipment and place in repair and maintenance of the building, and then $50,000 and place into the kitchen equipment line item.
These are all in one budget amendment request?
Yes, sir.
Questions?
Just to
Chairman.
clarify, this is just movement of funds, no new funds. Is that correct, sir?
It's moving from one line item to another.
Mr. Chairman?
Just to clarify, the overtime is because you're short of people and you're removing money from the original budget, and that original budget will still be okay to get you through the end of the year.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Other questions on this budget amendment?
Chief, how many are you short just in detention? And then how many are you short in patrol?
We are short 38 positions in detention currently. They've interviewed some applicants, and they should be in the process. In patrol, we're 7 positions. They're doing a physical fitness test this week for applicants, and they'll be doing an interview process for those applicants.
Mr. Chairman, where are we on the update for the numbers on the SRO officers? Are we still hiring?
Yeah, we've got a couple in training, and then we've got some more applicants that's applying for this group that we're getting ready to interview. There's 9 positions that's currently open until they get off the training.
Other questions or a motion?
Move to approve the amendment.
Have the motion, Commissioner Rather, second from Commissioner Oliver. Further questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion did pass. I believe we have another budget amendment.
Yes, sir. This is to recognize the revenue and expenditures for the financial year 2021 Bureau of Justice Assistant State Criminal Aliens Assistant Grant Award for construction and building improvements for the Adult Detention Center. The application fee for Justice Benefit Incorporated is estimated as $9,865. We're requesting to accept the grant of $61,068. Also requesting $9,865 from unassigned fund balance, placing the $9,865 in the other contracted services and the $61,068 into the jail building improvement line item.
You've heard the request, and you have a copy of this on your iPad. Questions?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion approved. Commissioner
Second.
Beverly, second. Commissioner Rather, call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion passes.
passes.
We are requesting to apply for the financial year 2022 State Criminal Aliens Assistant Grant requiring no matching. We're in the process of applying for this grant if you approve.
Just asking for permission to apply.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Have a motion to allow them to apply for this grant. Have a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion?
Question.
Commissioner Oliver?
This is, you say, reimbursement for costs incurred?
In the incarceration of undocumented criminal aliens, that's what this.
Can you say what that cost is? Or did I miss it on the report?
Right now, we don't have a cost for this grant, but 2020, we received $44,846, and the one we just covered, the 21, was $61,068 that we received.
So then you just submit based on your costs, and then they give you the money. Is that what you're saying?
They do a calculation on how many undocumented aliens we had incarcerated from June to July, and then they give us the calculation of how much money we were awarded.
Thank you.
So we're just asking for permission to apply for the grant, correct?
Correct.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Pause. Good evening, Mr. Gregory. I believe we have two budget amendments here also.
Yes, sir, we do. I'll go through the report first. For the month of October, we had 421 animals come into the shelter. You can see we had a euthanasia rate of 4%, live release rate for dogs of 95.8%, cats were 93.8%, and when wildlife were figuring in a 93.7% live release rate. We had a little over 1,600 people visit the shelter, a little over 2,300 calls and voicemails, and our officers completed out 1,466 calls, traveling 8,542 miles. Fiscal year to date, our live release rate is 92.9%. Our euthanasia rate is 3.8%. Our officers have completed almost 6,000 calls, traveling 38,424 miles. The next page of your report is the rabies exposure and bite report. You can see that we had 40 bites for the month. None of those were sent for testing, and we had 9 other exposures. None of those sent for testing as well. Last page of the report is just the graph that I give you all so you can see the live release rate versus euthanasia and other outcomes. And that is my report, sir.
Any questions on the report? If not, do we have a motion to approve the report?
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Sereno to approve the report.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Rather. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report is approved. First Amendment.
Yes, sir. The First Amendment is asking to move $12,000 within our existing budget to move over for travel, which is our training budget, for gasoline, and for uniforms due to the new employees that we have. It's no new money for that amendment.
Move to accept.
A motion move to approve. Second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Rather. Further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next amendment, please.
Yes, sir. The next amendment moves $20,000 within our existing budget and takes $30,000 from the PAWS donation line and moves that to various lines. What we're trying to do, we've worked with Mayor Ketchum, we worked with Mayor Carr, and tried to look at different ways. PAWS is out of space, especially office space. We have, some of you all have seen that, to where we have 4 or 5 folks working out of something that's really not much more than a closet. So what this does is this purchases a storage building to be able to set in motion reworking some existing parts of the office to get some of these folks so they're not working on top of each other and they can actually do their job. So it involves buying a storage building, it involves buying some cubicles and reworking some office space there that we have to make it work. I'll be honest with you, this is a Band-Aid solution, but it gets us to where we need to be right now so these folks can do their job.
Questions? Commissioner Beverly?
Just motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved. Commissioner Beverly, second by Commissioner Oliver. Further discussion?
Well, I had a question. Is this essentially a shed?
I'm sorry?
Is it essentially a shed you're talking
Yes, sir. We're
about?
buying
Is it going to be for
basically
storage, or are you going to make an office out of it?
No, we're going to purchase this. Basically, it's a oversized mini barn that we will move some current storage to be able to open up to where we can move some different places around within the office. So no one will be housed in this building.
How many new workstations do you think you'll be able to create, and how many will you still need to create after this?
Once we do this with the cubicles, we will create 7 total workspaces. Basically what it does is it takes 4 to 5 folks that are working out a very small area and puts them in a larger area with cubicles that can be closed off so they're not hearing everybody in the background while they're trying to work. And then it also takes part of our vet staff that does some clerical work for that area back there and gives them just basically a call center workspace. And then it takes 2 of the supervisors and gives them a space to where they can separate versus having to share an office. It just reworks several areas. I kind of termed it as it's kind of like a chess. Once it starts, everybody's kind of moving in different directions, but it gets them to where they're not working on top of each other like they are now. I didn't finish your question, I'm sorry. How many spaces do I need after that? That will give every person that I currently have that needs their own space. But it doesn't provide anything for future. That's why I say it's kind of a Band-Aid solution, but it's what we need to do right now within the structure that we have.
Other questions? Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Y'all have a good night.
OSHA report. Evening, sir.
Chairman Reed, Madam Secretary, Commissioners. The Public Safety Committee OSHA report for October 2022. You see we had a total of 21 incident frequencies for the month. Incident for the calendar year is 153. OSHA log summary, total recordables 119, restricted day claims 58, lost day claims 26, other recordables 35. On the next page, on-the-job injury claims for 2020, 137, 2021, 145, 2020, we have a total of 153. On-the-job injury incurred dollars for 2020, there was 714,000, 2021, 484,000, 2020, 555,000. And then the last page, you have the cause of injuries with the Board of Ed totaling 14, County General totaling 7. And in the County General, you had 1, Fire and Rescue, Sheriff had 5, Solid Waste had 1. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
I have to ask, what is called in, under, or between?
Well, it could be like someone closed a door, car door, putting a child inside the car in their seat or something, and the teacher shut the door and accidentally closed her finger in the door. That could be one. There are a lot of different things where you just get caught between something.
All right. I appreciate it. Had to ask.
That's all right.
That's what you're here for.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Have a motion to approve the report.
So moved.
Commissioner Rather moves to approve, second by Commissioner Oliver. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Your report is approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Probation report. What have I got? Recovery court. I checked the wrong thing here, looks like. You had started and I stopped you. You made a good recovery there, I tell you, for recovery court.
The report for Recovery Court for October, we have 150 current participants. 5 new came in, 5 graduated. We had 2 terminations and 3 successful completions, excuse me. And that concludes my report. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Just looking at
James.
this report, the highlighted section, it says you had 3 successful graduations, and then 2 unsuccessful, terminations. But you still came back with 5 total graduations. Can you explain that?
We can, it's basically 5 total terminations. It shouldn't say graduations. It should say terminations. We consider graduates and unsuccessful completions as terminations.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Move to accept the report.
Motion to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved. Probation. Good evening.
Good evening. For our October report, we closed out 141 cases, which is equivalent to 117 individuals. We currently have active reporting cases totaling 1,136. Right now, we have 62 individuals in our groups. For the month of October, we had 13 individuals successfully complete those groups. And then we had 7 of those discharged unsuccessfully from their program. As far as our olive branch goes, we were able to help 5 individuals. 2 of those 5 were homeless and 3 had fallen on a hardship. For the month of October, we did receive some donations, including clothing, food, face shields, and toiletries for the month to go with our olive branch program. Also, in October, our total revenue equaled $18,585.90, with the difference of our expenditures equaling $111,384.89. For the month of October, we turned over $6,635 in probation fees to be collected through payment agreements with the clerk's office. And for the month of October, $7,238 was not turned over to the clerk's office to be collected for payment agreements. So far this fiscal year, we've turned over $36,094 to the clerk's office to be collected on payment agreements. And so far this fiscal year, $28,965 has not been entered into a payment agreement with the clerk's office. And we also have 11 individuals out of those we supervise right now that the court has deemed indigent. And that would be my report for the month of October.
Questions on the report?
Quick question, just to clarify, and I believe I have this right. Just want to be clear. When you say 141 cases but 117 persons, does that mean somebody had multiple cases? Is that how that works?
Yes, that's exactly how it works. So it may be that that individual has 2 or 3 cases that they've established over a couple of years or 6 months. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Other questions? I think it's interesting we've gotten this report down to 1 page. I remember when we first started this court, that it would come in here, and I think Chairman Phillips, you probably remember that, it was a ream of paper that would come in here that we looked at. And now it's down to 1 sheet of paper, and this is quite impressive of what we're seeing now, and of course what our probation court is doing right now too.
We try to simplify it a little bit better so that there's a clearer understanding. We're still open to suggestions. If you see something that may be a little bit confusing, we can always go back and reevaluate that too, but it simplifies everything a little bit better.
Of course, this is something that a lot of places don't have, and it's something we're very proud of, that people come and look at and want to see how we do it and how it's working. And I think that's something we're quite proud of here in Rutherford County, and appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, do we have a total motion? I think we had
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed?
And then the last thing that I have, and this is something that we've never done before, so it's really exciting, but I would like to ask this committee's permission to apply for a community local grant through Walmart, and that would be one of our local Walmarts. And I attached the pages on your iPad too so that you could look over that information. It can range, it's a zero match grant. It can range from $250 to $5,000. Of those requirements that, as far as the areas of funding that we would be qualified for, would be for our Olive Branch program under the hunger requirement as far as funding goes. So that way with our Olive Branch, we would be able to provide non-perishable foods for our individuals. So we're really excited about that. So I come tonight asking permission to apply for that.
It's non-matching.
That's correct, non-matching.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Have the motion and a second. Further discussion?
Second.
Since we already have a second over here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Move on. Correctional Work Center.
Evening. Included in your packet will be the November 7th minutes from our board meeting. Next thing you'll see is the CQI statistics, which quarterly, and this is going to be something new that we've just added to the report, but I thought it would be interesting and informative for you all, especially that have not been on this panel before. But quarterly, we meet with our medical department and go over statistics. And in the world of the incarcerated, one of the biggest costs are usually your medical issues. Just some points of interest on there if you look down through there. Emergency room transports, hospital days, inmate deaths, and medication errors usually end up costing more money than they should. And one thing that you'll find on there are those are either zero or very low. So I just wanted to make sure that you all got a chance to take a look at that. Next is the work release program. Statistics, work release is going good. We actually had some of our county staff go down to Davidson County recently, and our work release here in Rutherford is about 5 times the size of Davidson County's as far as people on it. So we're doing great work with that. Next is the yearly activity report. Our population's staying about the same. Next, you'll see the trash collected, which on county roads, county trash collected 6,943 pounds, state routes 562 bags. And then our monthly worker report for October showing a combined savings of $82,520 by using inmate labor. And to kind of give you all that have not been on this board very long an idea of what we do, I put in a couple of notes. One from a former inmate who was not from the area and recently got out and wrote me a letter. Just kind of gives you an idea of the caring staff and professionalism that Work Center staff has. And second is one of our partners. And it too just talks about the partnership and the teamwork that we had with Volunteer. And I'd like to mention that on December 10th at 9 a.m. we'll be doing the Operation Bless a Child, which is our yearly event that we do with New Vision. And that's December 10th at 9 a.m. at New Vision Church. I don't have any amendments and no requests, and that's the end of my report.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind repeating? You said December the 10th. What type of event?
December the 10th at 9 a.m. New Vision Church.
And what event is that again?
And that's the Operation Bless a Child. Every year we have a big event out at New Vision Church where we do a service for those who are incarcerated, and New Vision usually does a drive to give presents to those children who have incarcerated parents that wouldn't get presents otherwise.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Alder?
may I comment? I got a chance to read this letter earlier today, and I just want to say I'm very proud of these officers. I was very, very proud to read this, and I was just really excited by it. I just had one question because the former inmate mentioned that they could not communicate post-incarceration. Is that for the safety of the officers, or?
That's for the safety of everyone.
Okay. But yes, I was very proud.
Thank you.
Very proud. Great job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rather?
Oh, echo what she said. The part of this letter that really stuck out to me was a guy said, "Thank you for treating me like a person." I think I had this gone now. Chief Spence and Lieutenant Rankin, I don't know what his rank is now. He was lieutenant. I made that comment to them that no matter who you got locked up or what call you're going on, they're people in a very, very bad time or difficult time. Regardless, they're still people. Now, there's some bad folks out there. We all know that. They're still people. So that stuck out with me in that entire letter. Thank you for treating me like a person. And, you know, everybody responds to leadership, and that's under your leadership.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Motion to accept the report.
Motion to approve the report. Have a second? Second. Commissioner Rather. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Chairman?
Mr. Cope, I've never noted this, but your board meets the first Monday of every month at 8:30 a.m. Where?
At the work center, yes, sir.
And we come?
Absolutely. You can come anytime you want. But yes, sir. Love to have you. Might even feed you when you get there.
I'll be there.
Thank you, sir. Juvenile detention. As you're making your way up here, we want to say welcome to the chairman of our school board, Chairman Sharp. Glad to have you with us this evening.
Good evening. You have in front of you our monthly report for October. We do have an outstanding bill from Montgomery County. They have never been late. We don't expect that to be a problem. I think just the Thanksgiving holidays may have delayed that some. As far as items of interest, we have so far for the fiscal year tested 77 young people through our STD program. And that is, of course, voluntary. It's not something that they're required to do. If they test positive, we make sure that whether they're with us or if they've returned home or moved elsewhere, that the local health department can track them down and make sure that they get any necessary medication if they're positive. As far as the rest of the report, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I would like to say that our next board meeting is scheduled for Monday, December the 5th, and that I don't currently have the minutes from the November 7th board meeting, as those will not be discussed and approved potentially until this coming Monday. And that's concludes my report.
Questions?
Chairman, you may know the answer to this. their next board meeting, that's here instead of,
That hasn't been determined just yet.
okay. I know we talked about the juvenile moving because it's kind of cramped. But that board decides that, or who
You got
decides
the
that?
chairman of the board sitting right here, so.
Chairman?
What is your question?
All right, so there was discussion about the space to hold the juvenile board meeting that was cramped, the technology that goes with it, people showing up, it was cramped. We have discussed, it was brought up moving it here to these chambers as we're still waiting what the board wants to do, or?
No, we were exploring moving it to the courthouse as an option if the possibility of being overcrowded at the Juvenile Detention Center continued to be an issue. Ms. Duke and her staff did a little bit of research and rearranged a bit of the furniture so that it relieved some of those cramped conditions. If the board decides, along with Ms. Duke and her staff, that situation develops where it is overcrowded, then we most certainly may exercise moving it here. However, to do that may mean that there may be an amendment to the resolution that this body passed, which required those meetings take place at the Juvenile Detention Center. So we're treading carefully. That has been given to Nick Christensen, the county attorney, to investigate to see if the board and Ms. Duke have that latitude. But in the meantime, Ms. Duke has been quite accommodating to the board with those who want to attend that meeting. So we don't anticipate a problem for the December meeting, but we're aware that we may have an issue come the first of the year, and Nick Christensen's looking into it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Other questions on the report? Not have approval?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Beverly moves to approve.
Second.
Well, we have second and two on both ends there, Commissioner Oliver and Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, report is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Emergency Services, Public Safety Report. Director Clark.
Chairman, Mayor, Committee. Hopefully in front of you, you have our report on your iPads. And just wanted to point out a couple items. We're still working, meeting with multiple agencies that are along I-24 corridor to relieve some pressure in the event that there's a wreck and have a better plan in alleviating some of the traffic. This is hosted by the state, and we look forward to improving those responses. Several responses from emergency management this month, and also our dispatch continues to be pretty busy. 5,885 calls, 1,300 of those were 911 calls. And that's my report, and I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Questions for the director? Mr. Rather.
Without too many details, we're progressing with the communication with schools?
Yes, sir. We have, and not only are we doing that, but we're also having meetings as far as responses to schools and things like that as well. Ms. Patty Easer, Mr. Trey, we've had a couple of meetings about responses to schools, communications, things like that.
Other questions for the director?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Sereno.
Mr. Director, when I went to the Rockwell, Turkish shoot with observe the building for safety building, keep improving. That's good.
You're talking about our new
Yes.
public safety center out in Rockville? Yeah, it's coming right along, and hopefully around January, we'll be able to move in. Kittrell, we're looking somewhere around the end of March or 1st of April is our dates.
They're looking good. Kittrell, I think, is putting the steel on for the roof. I believe they're at that point. And then Rockville, the doors are in, but we can't get glass. That's our holdup right now. It's there's always a shortage of something right now. I feel like I'm watching the Waltons. We're short of something all the time. We can't get what we need, but glass is what's putting us behind out there. But they are really going to work on a lot of the things there. And I was at Kittrell just recently, and they were showing us how they were working. And I was amazed at what the work these guys are doing. Coldest day we've had, I was out there, and they were in short sleeves working, and I thought, these are the toughest guys I know, but they're doing a great job. And I know the director's been out there quite often, seeing what we've got going.
Yes, sir. We have once a month, we go out there and have a meeting with contractors, and then Larry or the Chief Farley and Director Gaither, we all kind of ease out there every now and then just to see what the progress was and see if there was any questions.
I have to tell you, I've got that construction helmet. You have to come on wearing a helmet. And the one I've got has the emblem of the Eagleville High School on one side. And one of their construction workers met me right as I stepped on the property. And he said, if you're here supporting the Eagles, you got a problem. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, one of our workers' father played for the Eagles. I said, wait a minute, you're talking about professional players here. I said, I'm talking about Eagleville High School. Oh, well, that's okay. You come on here. So we got a good group. Any other questions for the director? Have a motion to approve? Commissioner Oliver, have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Rather, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved.
I have one other item, and I apologize that this was not on the agenda tonight. Our partners in Smyrna has requested assistance of them using a microwave that's located on Moores Hill near the town of Smyrna. And they had some radio issues there. During a mutual aid type assistance, they started that process of trying to have this. We have this abandoned microwave on that tower. That came along with our new radio system that we did not need that microwave anymore. They want to utilize that microwave as a backup to their current radio system. It is a request that we donate that microwave to the town of Smyrna. It's on a total different frequency than what we currently have. I do not vision us needing that microwave from this point on, or from the time we erected our new radio system, and it would help the town of Smyrna tremendously. And I wanted to bring this to your attention and a request to move forward donating that equipment to town of Smyrna.
Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the oversight in not having this on the agenda is mine. The director, Mr. Clark, and I discussed this probably a month ago, and we were working through the details. And so this is just an oversight on the mayor's staff and not including this on the agenda. The Office of the Mayor is constantly looking for opportunities to partner with the municipalities, especially when there is no cost to the county associated with such partnership. This is an excellent example of that, and this is a need they have. This is something we no longer have a need for, and quite honestly, this is one of these occasions where we kind of hit the sweet spot in continuing and fostering a healthy relationship between the county and one of our municipalities. So I hope and encourage this body would approve this request. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Who owns the tower that microwave's on?
Actually, the tower is owned by Middle Tennessee Electric. Is that right, Brian?
So it's our responsibility if we don't donate this microwave. It's our responsibility if they request it to be removed. We have to foster that cost, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So by donating this, it alleviates all that possibility as well.
And repurpose a piece of equipment that is needed.
Sounds good.
Further discussion?
Question. Could you restate what you just said?
Sorry about that. The microwave is up on a tower owned by Middle Tennessee Electric, and if Middle Tennessee Electric asks us to remove, as the county government, that microwave, we have to pay to have someone go up there and remove it. By donating it to the town of Smyrna, it's now their obligation.
And these are microwaves we do not cook in. I want everybody to understand that. They may be watching tonight about trying to figure out what in the world we're talking about. So
If you go around town and you look on some of these towers, there are big round dishes, and that's what most of them are white in color, and that's what they.
Before this gets on Facebook, that they're out there giving away microwaves. So
Move to accept the motion.
Second.
Got a motion, Commissioner Oliver, second, Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you. EMS? I believe you have one budget item too, don't you?
Good evening. For the month of October, we did a total of 3,362 calls. 51 of those were hospital transfers, response time of 7.6, and a total revenue of $849,876. The next page is some community relations and some medical coverage events that we had for the month. The convalescent division did 432 calls, collected $93,301. And the next couple of pages are some emails, some thank you notes to some of the employees for the month. And that's my report.
Questions on the report for the director?
I will make a comment, sir. Just as I stated earlier, as it relates to the Corrections Center, I'm really happy that you include those commendations for your employees in the notes.
Other questions, comments? Mr. Chairman.
I see that it appears that collections are down this year from what they have been in the past. Is that any of concern for us?
We met with our billing company. They actually came and did a one-year report because we changed, and we did that a couple of weeks ago. They're showing us over our projections. So the numbers that we gave them whenever they were trying to get our business, they're showing us about 127% above collections. And I said, well, I feel like we should probably be around $1 million a month. They thought that was very doable. We're changing some of those processes that we do in the billing department. Some of the things we were doing, we continue to do because we've always done them, and we're getting out of that thought process. So hopefully you'll see it go up, and it does kind of ebb and flow, and especially this time of year with different holidays and that kind of stuff, there's not that many business days, which draws back the revenue. I told her that we needed about $2 million a month, and she said okay, but I don't think she was serious.
Other questions, comments, or a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Reither. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Your report is approved, sir.
And then a budget amendment, it's to utilize donations that were in the donation line item from last fiscal year and moving them into the appropriate line item this year, and then also the contributions that we've gotten this fiscal year. So that's not, I actually asked Mark before I came up here, that's not something that's out of end fund. It's a restricted fund that was from last year, but it didn't actually go into our end fund balance. And it is all donations.
You've heard the request.
When is EMS week? When is it?
It's in May. It's usually towards the end of May.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Commissioner Beverly, have a second. Second. Commissioner Rather. Further discussion? Call the roll, please, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Mr. Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
Fire and Rescue. Good evening, Chief.
For the month of October, we ran 644 calls. I had 13 structure fires, 18 brush fires, and that's we've had a lot of issues with that lately. We had 84 MBAs, 34 were with injuries, 50 were without, with 3 extrications. Year to date, we've ran 5,978 calls, 64 structure fires, 56 vehicle fires, and 68 vegetation fires, or brush fires. We ran 3,105 medical calls. We've had 295 MVAs with injuries, 357 without injuries, and 25 extrications. Looking at the county totals, including all the volunteers status, we ran a total of 95 structure fires, 150 brush fires, 108 vehicle fires, 1,139 MVAs, and 30 extrications, for a total of 7,398 calls countywide. The next sheet is what we turn into the codes department of structures that were damaged by fire. The next sheet shows our investigation report, and we've had several illegal burnings, and we're still, the fire death fatality out on Epswood Court is still under investigation. We've had 4 smoke alarms installed for the month. Next sheet is the illegal burn report, showing the location, address of those unauthorized burning. And I have 2 letters I'd like to read. One of them was sent to me by Ms. Salary Winfrey. Said, I would like to personally reach out to you and about the firemen of the fire and rescue station on Jefferson Pike. I called to inquire if any stations had a ring cutter, as my 13-year-old daughter had one stuck on her finger that would not come off. We had tried for 2 hours, and her finger was swollen. The dispatch said they would have to send someone out since she didn't know what equipment we had at the station or on the truck. They were here within 10 minutes. I live off Jefferson Pike on Valley View Road. These men were absolutely fantastic with my daughter. They kept her calm while discussing with myself and my husband what would need to be done. The ring was 100% stainless steel, fidget ring, so it was not your typical ring. They were able to successfully cut the ring off. They talked to her and made her feel comfortable. She had already started to panic before we called. They were amazing. She told everyone about how good they were and thank you for your team. And I also got a letter or an email this afternoon from my Sheriff Patrick Ray of DeKalb County, and we've been called up there several times. We have a drone team, unmanned aircraft we send up, and we do a lot of searches from time to time. Mostly it's elderly people who have walking off into the woods or just wandered off, and we've had good success with this. And Sheriff Ray said, Rutherford County Fire and Rescue Captain John Engel, we would like to take this time to tell you how much I appreciate your department. From all the air drone searches to coordinating canine and ground searches, your department has done an outstanding job. All of your staff has went above and beyond what we have asked them to do. Your staff has been very friendly and always willing to help in whatever way they can. For all this, I want to say thank you. If my department or myself can ever assist you or your department in any way, please do not hesitate to call me. Thank you, Sheriff Patrick Ray, DeKalb County, Tennessee. They've had several issues up there. They had a missing elderly person that we were able to locate. They had a man who was for lack of a better word, the sheriff's department was looking for him, and he was wanted, and he had kidnapped his daughter and was holding her, and we were able to help them find and locate them and able to get that child back to her mother and save her. So we've been up there several times, and anytime he has need of assistance, he calls us, and we've been very successful up there in helping him. So that's a good turnout. I do want to bring up, we have 11 fire apparatus that's getting 24 years old. So that'll be needing attention later on down the road. And that concludes my report.
Questions for the chief on the report? Chairman?
Chief Farley, I noticed 4 alarm installations. We seem to be down there. What are we doing to publicize that?
Well, it's on the RCTV, and of course we advertise it on our Facebook page, and I think we have thousands of people that follow our Facebook page, and we've been doing this for several years, and it's free of cost. And even if people have the plug-in smoke detectors, if they purchase them, we'll go out and install them. We will install carbon monoxide detectors if they have those, and of course we offer free smoke detectors with a 10-year battery. So I mean, we put it out everywhere we can and advertise it, and anytime we are in a home, like we do respond to home for a medical call, our guys are real good about checking, making sure they got smoke detectors, make sure they work, and if they don't, they offer to come back and install those. So that's something we try to do as we go in each home for a medical call.
It's an amazing service, and usually when you have something free, people are lined up, but it doesn't look like they're lined up this year. Public information assistance, Mayor, do you think there's any way we could get public information? Something like
I think that's a valid point. I think maybe the downturn in that kind of thing for smoke alarms is what you're talking about, and the fact that they're so readily available may be something that my office can do through the PIO or public information officer in helping you get that word out. So I'll direct Ms. Kay, Lisa Kay, to work with you, Chief Farley, if that's okay, to find out if there's more of an appetite on our citizens for something that, quite honestly, is needed, and we can certainly help them by providing it.
Y'all did witness our awesome recruitment video that we created, and I'm very proud of that, and our guys are extremely proud. We received over 180 applications. We have hired 12 laterals who are already trained, and with other departments are coming on December the 5th. And we are in the process now of interviewing our recruits for our recruit class. I'd like to thank Commissioner Joshua James for coming out 2 weekends in a row as they went to the physical ability test, and he got to see firsthand how tough that test is. Matter of fact, I think he wanted to challenge it there a little bit, but anyway, that's all I've got.
I'm just happy that the first time in the last 6 weeks that I'm happy I have a cracked rib and couldn't let my ego jump me in.
All right, other questions? Mayor?
Chief Farley, at the end of your report, and I didn't catch it really well, you mentioned something about our trucks. Can you restate that, please, sir?
Got 24 apparatus that were bought in 1999. They're getting close to, they're 23 years old, going on 24 years. So that's something that's going to need to be, we need to discuss later.
These 24 apparatus, they're not all the same, obviously. They're different. They're different types and makes and models with different functions, correct?
They're Freightliners. They're all pumpers. They were purchased in 1999. At that time, they bought 14 of them. Smyrna had one, Laverne had one, and Murfreesboro had one. Laverne has turned theirs in since they purchased all new apparatus, and that's just something that we're going to have issues with. NFPA recommends changing those trucks out every 25 years. After 15 years, they're supposed to go into reserve, and after 25 years, the NFPA recommends taking them out of service.
Are all 24 of these there, you're saying 24
There's
24 trucks, or how many did you say?
There was 14 purchased, but we have 12.
12. So you're trying to retire all 12 of these, is that correct?
Well, we would eventually need to.
Okay.
Because at 24 years, all the piping was not stainless steel back then, so a lot of the piping on the pumpers that you pump water through are starting to leak and really deteriorate.
Thank you.
Chief, if I may, how long will it take if we order those to start coming in? It was about like an 18-month, two-year wait?
Well, I talked to Pierce here a while back, and they said they were like 12 to 14 months out if you order one. But I recommend if we were to go that route, we would purchase at least 2 a year if we could. But like everything else, the cost of these trucks have really gone up. So that's just something I wanted to kind of put in your mind that we're going to have to start looking at.
It's probably a silly question, but those trucks are 25 years old, and the pipes and things like that are wearing out. Any way to repair those, or to remodel those, or to upgrade those?
One of the issues we're having is one of their computerized monitor on it where the pump operates through it went out on Anvil's truck, so we had to take one off our other trucks. We have an issue and replace that, and the issue is you can't buy parts for them anymore. And they're all identical. They bought all the volunteer fire departments at that time a vehicle, and because the situation was then, they also bought the municipalities one. They were side mounts. These are top mounts. So they're 34 foot long, and I mean, they've got a lot of miles on them and a lot of wear and tear on them.
Dude, what's the cost to replace?
A new pumper would probably be $800,000 to $900,000.
When those trucks were bought, I was a young man. Commissioner James.
I just wanted to know if you could follow up on some of these, like the extension cord failures, the wood burning stove, since it's kind of the time of the season where there's going to be a lot of extension cord uses, just kind of a heads up on what to look for and how to
especially
keep
this
safe.
time of year with Christmas, everybody plugs in all kinds of lights and stuff into extension cord. I just recommend not leaving home with all your Christmas lights on. Of course, we have a lot of issues with fireplaces, and hopefully everybody takes the time every year to have those cleaned by a chimney sweep and make sure all the crystals cleaned out. So, heating is always the issue this year. We haven't had an issue really in a long time of kerosene heaters and stuff in homes, which those produce carbon monoxide. But yeah, fires seem to tick up in the wintertime when people are trying to heat, especially when the temperatures dip down real low.
Other questions for the chief? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve.
Motion, Commissioner James.
Second.
Second, Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Report is approved. Thank you, Chief. Radio system, anything got there? Chris is...
Brian was here earlier. Our biggest thing was that tower and that donation on the microwave. And let you know that we are working with other entities and making sure that those radios we can communicate on a regular basis. There's not a whole lot to report there.
Thank you, sir. I'd seen Michael earlier, and that's what then I looked and saw he wasn't there. Other business? If not, we're adjourned. Reminder, our next meeting is the 19th of December.